If you've been feeling anxious, bloated, and quite frankly chaotic, or if you've been told by someone, maybe a doctor recently, to lower your stress levels, your cortisol, but you don't know how, I'm going to share the 5 things that I do every single morning to regulate my nervous system because I used to feel the exact same way. So I used to roll out of bed in a past life and quickly rush to wash up, get out the door, rush to make my workout class, do a high intensity workout class, then rush to shower, rush to get to the office, rush while I was in the office to get things done before my boss came in, shovel food down my throat really quick during lunch that I thought was healthy, but really the behavior I was eating it in was not so healthy. And needless to say, I felt like shit. I felt bloated, I felt low energy, I felt high anxiety, I was getting crazy blood sugar spikes. And this whole pattern started with how I woke up. So in order to break that cycle, I had to get to the root cause of it. And in hindsight, it was obviously how I was starting my day. It was completely dysregulating my nervous system. So here is everything I now do. So to start, I did look up what a dysregulated nervous system looks like because I do feel like it's one of those buzzwords right now that no one really knows what it means. But honestly, if you're here, you're probably feeling it and it's probably happening. And I do actually feel like more often than not, it is more common to have a dysregulated nervous system in today's world than to have a regulated nervous system, especially if you live in a city like I do. I feel like it takes more work to regulate your nervous system than it does to dysregulate it, but once you're in the habit of regulating it, it'll come supernatural and you will feel so good. So let's get into it. I looked it up because I am not a doctor. A dysregulated nervous system occurs when the balance between the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, branches are disrupted. It's almost like your body first thing in the morning feels like it's being chased by a bear the second that alarm clock goes off, and it is not naturally supposed to. So the balance is disrupted. So this can lead to various physical, emotional, and cognitive symptoms, which I'm sure so many of us, especially if you are watching this, have experienced: chronic fatigue, muscle pain, headaches, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, and then some emotional symptoms: anxiety, depression, irritability. That's a big one for me. Mood swings, feeling overwhelmed, exhausted. Then there's cognitive symptoms, which are like the brain fog, memory confusion, all that super fun stuff that might seem normal to you, but it's really not. So I want to talk about the things that I do in the morning that help me. Number 1, it's how I wake up. The product that has absolutely changed my habits and my life and has made so many little habits possible for me is actually the Hatch Restore alarm clock. This is not sponsored, but truly, I don't know a better way to accomplish these things. So the first thing is waking up gently without a phone in my room. Grabbing your phone right away will set you immediately into so many anxieties that you maybe don't even consciously realize. There's overstimulation. There's that text from your boss that you certainly did not need to see first thing in the morning. There's emails, there's entertainment, there's scrolling. Maybe none of that made you anxious consciously, but you realize that you have been scrolling for 10 minutes, and then that immediate feeling first thing in the morning of like shame and guilt and I'm late and now I have to rush, like all of those things are connected to grabbing your phone first thing in the morning, which is insane. Let's start with the night before because that's how this habit really starts for me, which is before I go to sleep every night, my husband and I both put our phones literally right here in this side table next to the couch to charge for the night. Goodbye. See you later. See you tomorrow. So the phone goes away and then we go in the bedroom and we turn on our red light and these like soundscapes, both using the Hatch alarm clock. So it definitely helps us with our wind down routine. And then in the morning, our phones are not there. The Hatch wakes us up super gently, not with a crazy alarm that if you are still using that crazy iPhone alarm, we have to talk. When I hear people's iPhone alarm, I don't know about you, I get literal PTSD. Like I think about the days where I was waking up miserable to either go to school, go to class, waking up hungover, waking up to run to my job in the morning because I haven't used an alarm like that in years. And like I only have negative associations with that alarm. Now, if you played my morning alarm sound that I use for the Hatch right now, I would not have any negative associations. I would actually be like, oh, I love the morning, which is crazy because it's that simple of a fix. And you could do this on your iPhone too, but how I do it on the Hatch is it gradually wakes me up from low volume to higher so I don't get that initial like or like dinging. It doesn't like shock me out of bed and make me go, oh my God, shut that off at all. It's really gentle. And I know some people say that doesn't work for them. It works for me. And because my phone is not even accessible in the room, there's no temptation. I don't grab it. I don't sit in bed late. Like once I'm up, I'm up. I get out. Maybe I snooze, but I'm not like laying there staring at the wall, and I'm not laying there grabbing my phone because I want to get on with my morning because I was woken up super gently and I don't have my phone as a distraction first thing. So one tip on how to like release the phone the night before is we got into the habit of reading before bed. Something about knowing that like I will have content, which I know is so messed up and it'll probably be a theme throughout this morning because I am like for sure a content addict. Something about knowing that I'm not just going in there, putting my phone away and like having to get myself tired. I'm going in there, the phone's away, I'm putting the red light on, the sound on, I'm reading, I'm into my book. Like there's activities, you know, there's things to do, there's vibes to be set, and the phone just is not included in that. So setting up habits for when you're in the bedroom is really key so that you don't feel like this daunting task to put your phone away, that you're going to just be like sitting there in silence, staring at the wall or watching TV, which we don't have a TV in our room, but that's for another video. Okay, the second thing I do after that, after I do my skincare and everything, is I meditate. And please don't shut this off, because if you're someone who hears the word meditation, you know you should get into it, but you just can't, or you don't want to, or you hate it, that's fine, but just hear me out, because I think that there's such a misconception about what meditation even is. I believe there's a meditation for everyone. I had quite the journey with meditation. If you go back on my channel, I have been trying out wellness trends, meditations, workouts, all the things for 6 years. I tried a ton of meditations, and I realized that there are so many different types. And I think a common misconception before you dive into it is that you have to sit there in silence and not think about a thing. That is impossible. So of course we think, oh, I could never do that, right? That's not what meditation is. And it looks different for everyone. And there's so many different ways to accomplish the goal of meditating. And I think once I realized that, I had a lot of fun kind of testing out different ones. And then finally, one that I love, Kundalini, really stuck for the last few years. So I think that there's an entry point to meditation and then room to expand and dig deeper once you start to feel the benefits. So if we're talking about the entry point, obviously 5 minutes or less, but there's breath work, there's Kundalini, there's visualization meditations. Like for me, I needed a more active meditation. I started with walking meditations and visualization exercises and things that I didn't feel pressured to turn my mind or body completely off or shut it down. I was visualizing things and given tasks and breathing exercises, and that is what resonates with me, because it's still a chance for me to be super present, be off a screen, be just one with myself, allow space for maybe an idea to pop up or a realization to come about. When we don't allow space for these things because we're just going, it is so stressful. But if you create some time to listen to yourself and connect with your breath and awareness, that's what meditation is. I personally love when thoughts pop up during meditation. I don't like shy away from that. And I think there's a misconception that like you cannot think, and if you think, you fail. And that is why so many people stop meditating after the first time. So I wanted to just define meditation really quick off that note because of that. So I looked it up, and Headspace says meditation is not about becoming a different person, a new person, or even a better person. It's about training in awareness and getting a healthy sense of perspective. You're not trying to turn off your thoughts or feelings. You're learning to observe them without judgment. And eventually you may start to understand them as well. And that's actually what I found. I understand myself better as a person because I have that space to just see what comes up. Another definition, meditation is a practice in which an individual uses a technique to train attention and awareness and detach from reflexive and discursive thinking. And I'm going to add here, reflexive and discursive thinking can lead to nervous system dysregulation, anxieties, overthinking, limiting beliefs, all of that. So some of my favorite recommendations are Insight Timer. It's a completely free app, and they have all different types. So this is a great way to just see what you like. The Wim Hof method, I personally love Breathwork. I have friends that it gives them more anxiety, and then I have friends who also love it like I do, because you feel a physical change, and like I love that. So for me, for Breathwork, I love Wim Hof method, but the one that I've stuck to for years is Evolve by Erica. I have codes for some of these too, because I love that it combines manifestation and breathwork and mantra and movement, and I can kind of choose whatever I'm feeling in a given day. There's also the Open app. which I have a code for. So there's tons of different modalities and apps that you can try. Also, if you're very into manifestation and visualization, Joe Dispenza, you can go on YouTube and just look up Joe Dispenza Meditation. There are so many options out there, so I will leave it at that. The next habit is quality time. I think that this is something that has really elevated my life and my routine and getting me off a screen. So not everyone lives with another person, so we'll get to that in a minute. But for me, I have quality time with my husband every morning. It is what gets me up in the morning, actually. I work for myself. So having him be awake, ready to get his coffee and do his meditation, it's like I want to do that with him. So it actually gets me up earlier, which is, again, another video. And I think having that connection instead of being face down in my phone or overthinking and just talking to another person immediately calms the nervous system first thing in the morning. And I did look it up just to see if there was any science evidence there. And I found that quality time can improve your nervous system by helping to calm the sympathetic fight or flight response and activate the parasympathetic rest and digest system, promoting a sense of safety and well-being. So you feel safe and connected first thing in the morning. And I think that is a beautiful way to start the day in a calm state. So maybe this is walking your dog and saying hi to people on the street. You're going to inevitably walk into someone else who's walking their dog. Maybe you're calling a friend or a parent or a family member while you're walking the dog or while you're going for your morning walk or making your coffee, voice noting a friend. I just think connecting with another individual instead of being focused on the rat race is a really nice thing first thing in the morning, and it's something that's really helped me. I read another study that said quality time and positive social connections directly impact the nervous system by regulating stress, lowering cortisol, and releasing bonding hormones like oxytocin. When you feel safe and connected, your nervous system responds by downregulating threat responses, like the being chased by a bear thing I mentioned earlier, and promoting feelings of security. Nonverbal cues such as gentle touch, soft eye contact, and synchronizing breathing together help signal safety and support co-regulation between nervous systems. I think both of us meditating at the same time is a powerful energy. The fourth habit is I eat food before I work out. Crazy concept, and it does directly correlate to nervous system regulation. If you're someone who's chugging a cold brew and going to work out first thing in the morning, your nervous system is stressed the out, I hate to tell you. Believe me, I've been there, and now being on a totally different wavelength where I have a super slow morning and wake up earlier to get all these habits in before I get to the part where I'm getting to my workout and getting on with the rest of my day. It's just a slower way of living, which naturally regulates your nervous system. Honestly, anything you can do to just go slower is gonna regulate your nervous system. It's really pretty simple. I'm giving examples of things I do in the morning, but it's really pretty simple. Anything you can do to slow down. Even just one quick tip that just came to mind. Anytime you notice while you're working at your desk that you're like this, just catch yourself and go, just like we tense up and we quicken up, and anything you could do to slow down and relax, that's really all it is. But let's get back to eating. So one thing that wreaked havoc on my nervous system was not fueling properly. I used to, as I mentioned, wake up, roll out of bed 20 minutes before my workout class, get to my workout, I don't even know. I think I was having a second coffee once I got to work before I even had food. And then I'm wondering, why do I feel bloated? Why am I crashing so at 3 p.m.? I did all these things in the morning that you're supposed to do to be super productive and a go-getter, and I feel like shit. Well, this is why. So I looked up the data. When you train while your body is unfueled or in full fight or flight mode, you're taxing your system, not supporting it. Science says that when you're about to train, your sympathetic nervous system is already elevated. So if you have not eaten yet, or your fuel is low, or you eat something that's harder to digest, your body stays in stress mode instead of recovering and performing well. So basically, fueling before a workout is gonna help you keep your nervous system in the correct state. And the best thing that you can have before a workout is some protein and a carb. So I have been having 2 hard-boiled eggs and half a banana, and I find that it's like enough to hold me over. I have my protein, I have an easily digestible carb, and it gives me a perfect amount of energy for the day. Now, something I'm not so good at anymore, but I really was when I was on my gut healing journey, and now I'm on the other side of it. Eat before you have coffee in the morning. I wake up so early that sometimes I'm just not hungry yet, so I do tend to have my coffee first, but I will eat around the same window. I should be better at it when I'm feeling worse. Like if my anxiety is higher or I'm having a stomach flare up or anything like that, my first thing I will change is eating before I have coffee. So an article in the Times mentioned never drink coffee on an empty stomach. Food helps slow absorption of caffeine and softens its impact on stress hormones. So caffeine is going to elevate your stress hormones and your cortisol, which is great. It's what you want to get you going, but doing that in your system first thing is going to mess with your hormones and lead to digestive, acidic issues. So I dealt with that in the past. Again, whole other video. The fifth thing that I do every morning before 9 a.m. is I get outside and I walk. I always say that as much of a luxury it is to have a gym in your building, I actually would never want one, because that walk that I have to take to get to the gym every morning is what wakes me up, is what gets me off the screen, is what gets me going. And it just gets my system moving. And I think it does wonders for my nervous system. So something that I do to just make sure I'm keeping my head up and not heads down in my phone is, and yes, it's a problem that we constantly need distraction, but it is what it is. I listen to a podcast, an inspiring podcast, motivating podcast. I pick it in the morning. I get excited to pick it. It gets me out the door. I put my phone in my pocket and I'm heads up, looking around, getting the sunlight, listening to a podcast. I looked up some science-based facts. Morning sunlight exposure and rhythmic walking stimulate the parasympathetic system, which is the part responsible for calm digestion and stable mood. And early sunlight helps reset your circadian rhythm and lowers cortisol later in the day. So we're obviously wanting to get tired later in the day and have energy in the morning. That is the goal. And if you have a regulated nervous system, a regulated circadian rhythm, all the things, that is what will happen naturally. And one way to get that is sunlight in the morning, just to signal to your body that like, okay, it's go time, we're ready to go. And then on a mental health standpoint, I think it just, again, helps you be your most relaxed, happy self, which then ensures that your nervous system's not out of whack. And then I found this study very interesting. Bilateral movement, like alternating steps, mimics EMDR style soothing patterns that help your nervous system discharge residual stress. So it's also something that I do in meditation. Sometimes I like shake it out. I think there is truth to like shaking shit out, flushing things out, getting rid of the negative energy, and therefore calming your nervous system. So next week, I'm going to post a morning routine video so you guys can come back for that one. Comment below one habit that either helps you regulate your nervous system or one that you want to try and start implementing. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.